láti ẹnu ìránṣẹ́ Ọlọ́run alààyè àlùfáà Ṣọlá Ṣàngólẹ́yẹ. Ní báyìí ẹ jẹ́ ká tẹ́tí sí ọ̀rọ̀ Ọlọ́run.
Ẹ ké hallelujah. Ìbùkún ni fún Ọlọ́run tó fún wa lórí ọ̀fẹ́ láti tún gbọ́ra wa lónìí. Àdúrà mi pé ìbùkún òfin tuntun kó máa jẹ́ pẹ̀lú orúkọ Jésù àti ìwọ àti ilé rẹ lóṣù yìí ẹ máa rà àánú gbà. Ilẹ̀kùn tún máa ṣí fún ọ bẹ́ẹ̀ ni ìwé ìrántí rẹ á ṣí lórúkọ Jésù Kristi. Mo kí ọ káàbọ̀ gbogbo tá a máa ń gbọ́ ní gbogbo ọjọ́ ọ̀sẹ̀ náà rèé ọ̀rọ̀ ọba. Bíbélì wípé níbi tí ọ̀rọ̀ ọba ti wà ó ní agbára ó ń bẹ níbẹ̀. Ibi tó o ti ń gbọ́ mi yẹn kí agbára Ọlọ́run ọ̀gá ògo lórúkọ Jésù kó ṣíjìbò ọ kó ṣàánú fún ọ kó bá ọ rí kó ṣe ọ lóore kó o tẹ̀síwájú bẹ́ẹ̀ ni kó o tẹ̀síwájú ní orúkọ Jésù Kristi kó mú kí o yà kún ọjọ́ ìsinmi. Kí ló ń dá máa gbéyẹ̀wò ní sáà yìí? Mo máa kà lákọ̀ọ́kọ́ láti níbi Genesis orí 11. Fẹ́ ká wo ìtàn ayé bàbá Ábúráhámù, bàbá rẹ̀, bàbá tó bí Ábúráhámù. Ká sì wo ẹ̀kan kan àbí méjì tó dé wá tó ń pè àkíyèsí wa sí nípa ayé bàbá yìí. Ìwé Genesis orí 11 ẹsẹ̀ 21 àti 22. Tẹ́rà sì mú Ábúráhámù ọmọ rẹ̀ àti Lọ́ọ̀tì ọmọ Háránì ọmọ rẹ̀ àti Sérà aya ọmọ rẹ̀ àti Ábúráhámù ọmọ rẹ̀ wọ́n sì bá wọn jáde kúrò ní Úrì ti Kédíà láti lọ sí ilẹ̀ Kénáánì. Wọ́n sì wá títí dé Háránì wọ́n sì jókòó. Ọjọ́ Tẹ́rà sì jẹ́ 205. Tẹ́rà sì kú ní Háránì. Èyí ni ọ̀rọ̀ Olúwa o. Kí ni ohun tí wọ́n pàkíyèsí wa sí níbi tá a kà? Mo fẹ́ ká bẹ̀rẹ̀ sí ìwà àwọn nǹkan kan. Mo máa ń ṣe àkọlé ìwà àwọn tó ń tà ń sọ lónìí. Òun ni àwọn ewu tó ń bẹ níbi ìrọ̀rùn. Ewu ìgbà ìrọ̀rùn. Ewu ìgbà ìrọ̀rùn. Ibi tá a kà lónìí a ṣàkíyèsí pé bàbá Ábúráhámù òun lẹni àkọ́kọ́ tó kọ́kọ́ ní ìmọ̀lá pé òun lọ sí ilẹ̀ Kénáánì. Ábúráhámù gbọ́kàn bàbá rẹ̀ ni. Bíbélì ò fìdí rẹ̀ múlẹ̀ fún wa bóyá Olúwa kọ sí bàbá rẹ̀ ni àbí bẹ́ẹ̀ kọ́ a ò mọ̀. Ṣùgbọ́n ìwòye pé òun lọ Kénáánì ó túmọ̀ sí pé ẹbí yẹn ògo wọn ń bẹ ń Kénáánì. Ní ọ̀pọ̀ ìgbà nígbà mìíràn èèyàn lè má gbóhùn Olúwa á kàn mọ̀ pé nǹkan báyìí ló yẹ kó ń ṣe tí ó sì mọ̀ pé Olúwa ń bẹ ń di rẹ̀. Bàbá Ábúráhámù Tẹ́rà lẹ́ni àkọ́kọ́ tí ó kọ́kọ́ ní ìmọ̀lára wípé òun lọ sí ilẹ̀ Kénáánì. Ṣùgbọ́n àwọn òkúkú wa fẹ́ ká ṣàkíyèsí ohun àkọ́kọ́ pé ibi tí bàbá Ábúráhámù ń lọ yìí ìyẹn Tẹ́rà tó lọ sí Kénáánì yìí ó jẹ́ àfojúsùn ni àlá ni ohun tó fẹ́ ni. Mo mọ̀ pé yóò ti gbàdúrà sí yóò ti ṣèpẹ̀ sí yóò ti bèèrè lọ́wọ́ Olúwa ohun tó yẹ kó òun ṣe àwọn nǹkan tó wà tí yóò ti palẹ̀ mọ́. Èyí mọ̀ pé ó kúrò ní ibi tó ti ń bọ̀ kó ọ̀pọ̀ nǹkan ló máa ti rìn nígbẹ̀yẹn náà. Nígbà tí yóò kúrò ní Úrì ní Kédíà ọ̀pọ̀ nǹkan ni yóò ti wọ̀n. Yóò fi ọ̀rẹ́ lẹ̀ yóò fẹ́ bí lẹ̀ yóò fi àwọn ọ̀pọ̀ nǹkan ni yóò fi lẹ̀. Ṣùgbọ́n ìmọ̀ye yìí àfojúsùn yìí ló gbé ìdìde ó sì gbéra ó ní gbogbo lọ́wọ́ òun lọ Kénáánì. Mo mọ̀ pé gbogbo àwọn tó yí káwọn máa gbàdúrà fún ṣé ìwọ náà láfojúsùn bí? Ìgbà tó bẹ̀rẹ̀ ọdún ìbí akéwì lọ́wọ́ rẹ ìjẹ́ o láfojúsùn bí? Bàbá Ábúráhámù kí ló mú kejì tó fẹ́ ká ṣàkíyèsí ọ pé kò owó nìkan mà kọ́ tilé ló jáde ló ó jáde tilé ni. Ẹ̀kọ́ àkejì tí mo rí ní ayé bàbá Ábúráhámù ni pé ó ṣe ìkáwọ́ ilé rẹ̀. Àfojúsùn yìí ó tà á fún àwọn ọmọ rẹ̀ ó tà á fún ọmọ rẹ̀ ó tà á fún aya ọmọ rẹ̀ gbogbo pátá sì gbérajọ wọn àwọn ọmọ ń tẹ̀lé. Mo ṣàkíyèsí pé gẹ́gẹ́ bí bàbá tí ọwọ́ èèyàn bá ká ilé ènìyàn tí ọwọ́ rẹ̀ bá ká ilé tẹ́nu rẹ̀ ká ilé rẹ̀ máa nísinmi ọ̀la rẹ̀ máa dáa. Ẹnì kò ní gbé wọn kẹ́kọ̀ọ́ máa fà sílẹ̀ lẹ́yìn. Gbogbo wọn gbéra sọ wọn tẹ̀lé bàbá yìí wọ́n jọ lọ síbò Kénáánì. Ohun kẹ́kọ̀ọ́ mo ṣàkíyèsí níbi tá a kà ní pé nígbà tí wọ́n dé Háránì ìlú tàpé ní Háránì nǹkan ń ṣẹlẹ̀ o. Nígbà tó dé Háránì Bíbélì wípé Tẹ́rà sì jókòó. Háránì ò kì í ṣẹ̀ṣẹ̀, ṣùgbọ́n Háránì jẹ́ ibi tó burú. Háránì jẹ́ ibi ìtura. Háránì jẹ́ ibi tí ọkùnrin ní máa ti ń balẹ̀, ṣùgbọ́n kò kì í ṣe àfojúsùn ènìyàn. Bàbá Ábúráhámù wá Tẹ́rà wá jókòó sí Háránì, ó jókòó gbé, ó nọsẹ̀, ó gbalé, ó gbòde, òun náà àbá, ó wá dé ìyẹn ńlá ṣùgbọ́n ibẹ̀ kọ́ ló ń lọ. Kí ni Olúwa ń pè àkíyèsí wa sí lónìí? Àfojúsùn rẹ, ohun tó olóò fẹ́ ṣe ibẹ̀ ló wà bí? Ìlú tó olóò ń lọ, ṣé o ti débẹ̀ bí àbò wà ní Háránì? Háránì lè dá lóòótọ́ o, ṣùgbọ́n kò kì í ṣe ètò Olúwa fún ayé rẹ̀. Háránì lè dá lóòótọ́, ó lè jẹ́ ibi tó lè jókòó sí, ṣùgbọ́n ò lè jókòó síbẹ̀ tó kò kì í ṣàfojúsùn rẹ̀. Ibi tí Olúwa fẹ́ kó o máa lọ ni, tó o bá tí ì débẹ̀, o ò tí ì yege. Tẹ́rà jókòó ní Háránì, ó nọsẹ̀, ó gbàgbé àlá rẹ̀. Bóyá òun bẹ ẹnu gbogbo tó ń pè mí òun bẹ ẹnu dè. Àwọn kan wọ́n ti ń so pọ̀, wọn ò fẹ́ kó o lọ. Mo gbàdúrà ọwọ́ Olúwa tó mú ìdáǹdè wá láàárọ̀ yìí lórúkọ Jésù ó bàlẹ́ ẹ̀mí rẹ̀. Tẹ́rà ò máa dé ilẹ̀ Kénáánì. Ọ̀pọ̀lọpọ̀ ògo ló kú sí Háránì o. Ògo Tẹ́rà kú sí Háránì o. Ohun tí Tẹ́rà fẹ́ ṣe ní Kénáánì kò máa rí ṣe mọ́. Ètò ọ̀tá máa jẹ lórí Tẹ́rà. Àlá Tẹ́rà ò máa wá sí ìmúṣẹ. Mo fẹ́ bẹ̀ ọ́ lónìí, kí ló ohun tí Olúwa fi sí ọkàn ló kò ṣe? Kí ni nǹkan náà? Kí ni àfojúsùn rẹ pé lọ́dún yìí nǹkan ìwọ máa ṣe? Àbí bó ti ń gbọ́ mi lónìí ní oṣù kẹfà yìí ó ti láfojúsùn. Má dé Háránì kó o jókòó bẹ́ẹ̀ o. Háránì lè dàbí Kénáánì o, ṣùgbọ́n kò ń ṣe Kénáánì o. Ewu ń bẹ nínú ìrọ̀rùn. Ìrọ̀rùn kì í ṣe ohun tí ó da ìpèsè Olúwa náà ni, ṣùgbọ́n ìrọ̀rùn kọ́ níbi tó ń lọ. Bíbélì pé ọjọ́ Tẹ́rà sì jẹ́ 200 ọdún ó lé 5, Tẹ́rà sì kú s'Háránì. Lórúkọ Jésù ò ní kú s'Háránì. Ibi tí Olúwa ló máa dé yẹn, lórúkọ Jésù máa débẹ̀. Gbogbo ọ̀wọ̀n, gbogbo ọwọ́, gbogbo ọ̀rọ̀ tó dé ọ mọ́ ilẹ̀ àjèjì láàárọ̀ yìí lórúkọ Jésù á tú ọ sílẹ̀. Gbogbo agbára tó ní pé wọn ò ní gbé ilẹ̀ ìmúṣẹ rẹ lónìí, akọjú ìjà sí wọn. Mo pa á láṣẹ ní lórúkọ Jésù á tú ọ sílẹ̀. Gbéra máa lọ sí Kénáánì o. Má jẹ́ kóhunkóhun pa ọ́ sí Háránì o. Háránì kọ́ níbi tó ń lọ o. Háránì kọ́ níbi tó ń lọ o. Kénáánì ni. Kénáánì lè yẹrí. Mo gbàdúrà fún ọ láàárọ̀ yìí, orí ọ̀fẹ́ ìgbéra lórúkọ Jésù àjọ̀ǹda ìfún ọ. Gbogbo ohun tó sun ọ́ mọ́lẹ̀ tó lọ́ọ̀ ní débi ìmúṣẹ rẹ̀ láàárọ̀ yìí lórúkọ Jésù. Ọwọ́ Olúwa lónìí ló kọjú ní okòlù wọn. Lónìí àánú fọwọ́ fún ọ. O máa débi ìmúṣẹ rẹ̀. Àlá rẹ̀ máa wá sí ìmúṣẹ. Ayé rẹ̀ máa nísinmi. Ilé rẹ̀ máa nísinmi. Ojú òsì ní tí ọ. Lọ́sẹ̀ yìí lórúkọ Jésù lọ́ọ́ àánú gbà. Mo ní kó o lọ láàánú gbà. Jésù Kristi Olúwa wa. Àmín.
A nígbàgbọ́ pé Ọlọ́run ti bùkún yín nínú ètò pàtàkì yìí, nítorí níbi tí ọ̀rọ̀ ọba bá gbé wà agbára ń bẹ níbẹ̀. Ẹ tún darapọ̀ mọ́ wa láti gbọ́ ọ̀rọ̀ ọba láti ẹnu àlùfáà Ṣọlá Sàngbélẹ̀ ní àkókò yìí kan náà ní ọjọ́ mẹ́jọ. Fún ìbéèrè, ìmọ̀ràn tàbí ẹ̀bẹ̀ àdúrà, ẹ pè àlùfáà Ṣọlá Sàngbélẹ̀ sórí 0805 634 1443 0805 634-1443 tàbí kí ẹ jọ́sìn pẹ̀lú wa ní Amen Baptist Church ìsàlẹ̀ àpáta Ìdí-Òsè Ìbàdàn Ìlọrin Expressway Ìbàdàn. Àlàáfíà fún yín lórúkọ Jésù.
Ọba ni Jésù, ọba ni Jésù.
Rédíò Amuludun 99.1 FM.
Uniting the nation.
It's 7 o'clock. This is the network service of Radio Nigeria. Good morning and welcome to the news. I'm Okimuti Iguyasi. The headlines. President Bola Tinubu government to empower victims of insecurity. Nassau State government marks flood-prone areas ahead of potential flooding. Farmer kills son in Ekiti State. The commentary is on Nigeria, marching towards another election year. You can follow us on Instagram at X at Radio Nigeria and on Facebook at facebook.com/Radio Nigeria Network. Now the news in detail. President Bola Tinubu has reaffirmed the federal government's commitment to local content, technology transfer, and the empowerment of Nigerians. He made the reaffirmation while commissioning the first phase of the Lagos-Calabar Coastal Highway and several major road projects across the country. At the ceremony in Lagos, President Tinubu directed the Minister of Works, David Umahi, and other ministers overseeing projects across the country to ensure full compliance with the laws on local content, training of Nigerians, and technology transfer. He emphasized that government would no longer compensate developers who fail to acquire building approvals, stressing the need for urban planning and the rule of law. The Phase 1, Section 1 begins from Amadu Bello Way to Eleko Village area in Lekki Peninsula, a section of the 700-kilometer iconic project spanning the coastal areas of Ogun, Ondo, Delta, Edo, Bayelsa, Rivers, Akwa Ibom, and Cross River states. The federal government has welcomed Moody's Investors Service latest upgrade of Nigeria's long-term foreign currency issuer rating from Cat 1 to B3 with a stable outlook. This, according to the government, is a significant vote of confidence in the country's economic direction and ongoing reform agenda. The upgrade reflects growing international recognition of Nigeria's progress in stabilizing its macroeconomic environment, enhancing fiscal transparency, improving debt sustainability, and implementing market-oriented reforms under President Bola Tinubu's leadership. According to Moody's, the improved rating is based on what it calls a more resilient fiscal position, stronger external accounts, and the government's demonstrated commitment to macroeconomic and structural reforms. Reacting to the development, President Tinubu reaffirmed the administration's resolve to maintain prudent economic management while fostering inclusive growth. The upgrade is expected to enhance Nigeria's access to international capital markets, reduce borrowing costs, and attract foreign direct investments, further accelerating economic revitalization and job creation. A civil society group, Coalition for Peace, Security, Good Governance, Equity and Justice, has applauded the outstanding performance of the Minister of Housing and Urban Development, Mr. Ahmed Dangiwa, under the President Tinubu-led administration. In a statement in Abuja, the national coordinator of the group, Comrade James Okoronkwo, said Ahmed Dangiwa has so far demonstrated an unwavering commitment in driving the Renewed Hope agenda, especially in reducing the country's housing deficit despite the challenges posed by high cost of building materials. Comrade Okoronkwo explained that the Housing and Urban Development Minister's achievements are evident in building the Renewed Hope cities in the 774 local government areas, as well as delivering 50,000 housing units across the country. He said the minister's commitment to delivering results despite the challenges of low budgetary allocation and high cost of building materials is commendable. The group urged President Tinubu to build on the momentum generated by the minister's effort to further drive progress in the housing and urban development sector. President Bola Tinubu has condoled with the Kano State government over the tragedy that befell the state from the recently concluded National Sports Festival in Ogun State. A statement by the Special Advisor to the President on Information and Strategy, Mr. Bayon Onuga, says the President received with deep sorrow the tragic news of the accidents that occurred in Dakasali Bridge. Condoling with families and loved ones of those who died in the accident, the President described the disaster as a devastating blow to the nation. He noted that the accident has cast a shadow over the National Sports Festival, a celebration of unity, talent and excellence, which has long served as a platform for discovering and nurturing athletes who bring pride to Nigeria on both national and international stages. President Tinubu pays tribute to the accident victims whose dedication and aspirations on their various vocations embodied the resilient Nigerian spirit. He affirms that the greatest honor the country can afford them is to take concrete steps to prevent such tragedies in the future and improve safety standards across the nation's transportation systems. And the Nigerian Governors Forum, NGF, has expressed grief over the tragic loss of Kano athletes in an auto crash. In a statement, the chairman of the forum and governor of Kwara State, Abdurrahman Abdurrazak, says the accident occurred as the state contingents were returning from the recently concluded National Sports Festival in Ogun State. The statement extends heartfelt condolences to the families of the athletes, the state government, and the sports community in Kano State and the country in general. The chairman of the Nigerian Governors Forum prays Allah to repose the souls of departed athletes and give succor to their families at this difficult moment. There will be a live broadcast of the FCT Minister Nyesom Wike's media party on the network service. The event will take place on Monday, 2nd June 2025, that's tomorrow, at the Honorable Minister's Residence, Life Camp Abuja at 10 a.m. All FRCN, zonal and FM stations are advised to hook up to the network service for the live broadcasts.
Radio Nigeria, uplifting the people and uniting the nation.
Fuel subsidy is long gone. Compressed natural gas (CNG)-powered vehicles are gradually taking over the motoring landscape.
At the launch of the CNG initiative, 1 million conversion kits were distributed and distribution has continued seamlessly.
Yes, the Bola Ahmed Tinubu administration ensured that CNG service stations sprang up in nooks and crannies across cities and towns in Nigeria, creating thousands of jobs from the utilization of the cheapest source of energy.
Using CNG, I can say it's a good experience. It's far better than fuel and it's okay.
The experience has really been good and bad because consumption is very low compared to petrol, but bad in the sense that there is an availability of gas at the moment in Abuja.
I converted my car to CNG. There was no problem. We normally use CNG as much we can.
Call it energy transition made easy and achievable in just 2 years. We call it Tinubunomics, creative economy at work.
Let's celebrate 2 years of visionary governance. This message is brought to you by the Office of the Director General, Federal Radio Corporation of Nigeria, FRCN.
Many believe life as we know it has changed irrevocably, and that in this seismic shift lies an opportunity to turn things around, improve our country, and make life better for the majority. It is time to reboot Nigeria. Daria Media, with the support of the MacArthur Foundation, presents Pivotal. Join Nabila Usman as she discusses with policymakers, civil society, industry players, and individual Nigerians implementing unconventional ideas that have the power to change our country for the better. Catch Pivotal Mondays 10 a.m. to 11 a.m. on the network service of Radio Nigeria.
The Youth Hope administration is marking 2 impactful years as Nigeria's entire socio-economic landscape has taken a bold leap forward.
There is a complete overhaul of the economy with the blocking of the perennial leakages through fuel subsidy, necessitating interventions in public transportation.
Tax reforms and zero-interest student loan initiatives are truly breaking barriers.
These reforms by President Bola Tinubu's administration may be difficult, but they are the necessary foundations for a strong economy, as results are beginning to manifest.
No palliative in Nigeria has favored me, or this world has favored me, so I really appreciate.
As from yesterday, I didn't pay any. He gave me that ticket. I'm saying thank you to the government. God bless them.
So when I heard about this few days ago, I decided to try and I paid 17.5 to Asaba.
We appreciate our president for initiating this kind of program. From Abuja to Enugu, some were paying 35. Now we are collecting 12,500.
Other people traveling from other routes are benefiting from it.
Actually, my first time on the train, I enjoyed it.
Inflation is easing as prices of food items are coming down. An ambitious Lagos-Calabar Coastal Highway, among other legacy infrastructural projects underway. Improved train services, enhanced international passport regime.
As President Tinubu salutes and appreciates the resilience of the good people of Nigeria, there is need for more patience.
The reforms may be tough in many ways, but the mistakes of the past must not be repeated. This is because the wise knows that the night often gets darker before a promising daybreak. After a heavy rain, it's always a beautiful sunshine.
With President Tinubu leading the charge, it is hope renewed with a bright future.
This message is from the Office of the Director General, Federal Radio Corporation of Nigeria, FRCN.
Every day, children across the globe suffer abuses of their human rights, which violates the United Nations Convention on the Rights of Children.
For children living on the streets, it is almost impossible obtaining these rights. Rights like getting access to clean water, nutrition, basic social amenities, physical and psychological protection remains a dream.
How have we fared as far as the welfare of our children is concerned?
Join us every Sunday at 12:30 p.m. on the network service of Radio Nigeria as we beam our light on Street Children. Street Children, giving voice to the voiceless
and hope to the hopeless.
Remember, every Sunday at 12:30 p.m. on the network service of Radio Nigeria.
Don't miss it.
Radio Nigeria, uplifting the people and uniting the nation.
The federal government is set to empower 150 million Nigerians affected by insecurity through agricultural initiative. The National Security Advisor, NSA, Malam Nuhu Ribadu, stated this after signing a Memorandum of Understanding, MOU, between the National Counter-Terrorism Center and the International Institute of Tropical Agriculture, IITA, in Abuja. Malam Ribadu said no fewer than 100 million Nigerians have been affected by insecurity across the country. The NSA noted that despite Nigerians being predominantly farmers, insecurity has severely disrupted their livelihood, leaving many struggling with hunger. He emphasized the need for a societal approach to address the root causes of insecurity in the country. Malam Ribadu said security is the biggest challenge the country is facing, stressing that agriculture is the most vulnerable to insecurity, as according to him, in a nation of predominantly farmers, insecurity directly impacts the livelihood of the citizens. He commended the nation's security forces for their steadfastness in protecting the nation's territorial integrity at all times. Troops of Operation Udoka have clamped down on members of the Proscribed People of Biafra, IPOB, and its militant wing, the Eastern Security Network, from their long-established stronghold in Osumugu, Ihiala local government area of Anambra State. The commander of the operating base, Colonel Adamu Mohammed, while addressing defense correspondents during an operational tour of the area, said the strategic location situated at the vital crossroads and occupying a previously abandoned civic center was once a gateway for the proscribed group to launch attacks and escape into surrounding forests. Colonel Mohammed maintained that the area now under military control has witnessed an increase in patrols through joint operations with other security agencies. The Sector 5 Commander Operation Udoka noted that he outlined several major achievements since the establishment of the FOB. Colonel Mohammed emphasized that one of the key security threats in the region remained the heavily forested Osumugu area, which shared a porous border with Igbo State. The Primates Church of Nigeria Anglican Communion Most Reverend Henry Ndukuba has called for constant review of security strategies to address resurgence and regrouping of insurgency in the country. Addressing the 12th Synod of Abuja Diocese with the theme, Serve the Lord, Most Reverend Henry Ndukuba said insurgency and banditry have continued to disrupt economic activity as well as agricultural and mining sectors, resulting in decreased productivity, loss of revenue, and increased poverty. According to him, if the current trend is not checked, it will be difficult for farmers to engage in agricultural activities that will have a positive impact on the nation. On the economy, Most Reverend Henry Dukuba expressed concerns over the high cost of goods and services, emphasizing that the government palliatives are not getting to the downtrodden in the society. Most Reverend Henry Dukuba commended President Bola Tinubu's procurement policy, calling on government, ministries, departments, and agencies, as well as stakeholders, to fully comply, as it will create employment and reduce pressure on foreign reserves. As earlier reported, the federal government is to collaborate with the Niger State government towards providing succor to flood victims in Mokwa local government area of Niger State. President Bola Ahmed Tinubu gave the assurance when the federal government delegation, led by the Minister of Information and National Orientation, paid a condolence visit to the state. Information correspondent Joshua Adams reports.
The flood disaster that occurred 3 days ago has claimed over 150 lives and more bodies are still being discovered. The Minister of Information and National Orientation, Alhaji Mohammed Idris, who led the federal government delegation, said it was one disaster too many and assured the people and government of Niger State of the federal government's assistance.
Mr. President feels that this is a tragedy too many. Only in September last year, we know how the floods have affected many of our communities here in Niger State, and less than a year we're having this kind of flood. This is a recurrence getting too many, and government is certainly looking into this to ensure that this does not happen. He has activated every government agency to ensure that what needed to be done by government is done to bring succor to those who are living around that community.
Alhaji Mohammed Idris also condoled with the families of the victims on behalf of the federal government.
We are here on the directive of Mr. President to come to see the people of Niger State, particularly the governor of Niger State and the officials of the state government, to commiserate with you, to sympathize, to empathize with you on what has happened in Mokwa local government. Mr. President is personally saddened by this.
The Minister of Humanitarian and Poverty Affairs, Professor Nantawe Yolwada, who was part of the delegations already, NEMA has been on ground assisting and distributing support to the people.
NEMA is with you at the field, and they also gave us a brief of what's happened. They've given us the humanitarian challenges that you have. We're also going to have a meeting with you so that we review areas of needs that the state may like us to intervene, and we'll see where we can actually put hands on decks to ensure that we give some intervention in those areas of need.
The Niger State Governor, Mohamed Bago, represented by the Deputy Governor, Comrade Yakubu Garba, who appreciated the support received from the federal government, decried the level of havoc caused by the flood.
Hearing figures is not enough until when you see physically what has happened. Because sometimes, yes, we believe hearing is enough, but I think seeing is more better, because you can be able to see it exactly the way it is.
He said currently 3,013 people are displaced, 503 houses destroyed in 3 communities, including farmlands and bridges washed away within Mokwa local government. In Mina, the Niger State capital, Joshua Adams, Radio Nigeria.
The Nasarawa state government has begun identifying and marking communities and residential buildings located in flood-prone areas as part of proactive measures to ensure the safety of residents ahead of potential flooding. Commissioner for Environment and Natural Resources, Princess Margaret Elayo, made this known while briefing journalists after monitoring the monthly environmental sanitation exercise in Lafia. Elayo explained that the initiative follows recent predictions by the Nigerian Meteorological Agency (NIMET), which listed Nasarawa among states at risk of flooding this rainy season. In response, the ministry has launched a statewide sensitization campaign urging communities to take necessary precautions. She emphasized the urgency of the situation, citing recent flooding incidents in some states, including neighboring Niger, as a wake-up call. Elayo called on community leaders and traditional rulers to take the lead in raising awareness and mobilizing residents for action. The commissioner also urged residents to stop the indiscriminate dumping of refuse in waterways and to ensure continuous clearing of drains to facilitate the free flow of water. In a related development, Chief Environmental Prosecuting Officer of the Ministry, Abubakar Mohammed, disclosed that 168 individuals were arrested across the state for violating environmental sanitation laws. Local and foreign investors have been urged to take advantage of the peaceful, friendly and transparent business environment in Nasarawa State to invest in the agriculture sector to ensure food sufficiency and improve the economy. The program manager, State Action on Business Enabling Reforms, Mr. Louis Azige, made the call at a stakeholders engagement in Lafia, the state capital. Kalu Idika completes the report.
State Action on Business Enabling Reforms, SEBA, is a global body program committed to promoting transparency in the local economic development. Nasarawa State government had secured a $4 million grant through the World Bank's SEBA program to support the development of a one-stop investment center and a multi-door court in Lafia designed to simplify business registration and dispute resolution process. The SEBA program manager in the state, Mr. Louis Azige, noted that the reform scheme in the land and mining sectors also led to the establishment of a lithium factory in Udege with infrastructural development program ongoing across the state. Mr. Azige explained that the stakeholders engagement was organized to review the implementation of the SEBA program in the land and judiciary sectors with a view to remove barriers that hindered investors from having access to land for investment. He assured the business community of a more friendly and transparent environment for improved business activities to enhance development of the state.
Our focus is actually to ensure that the services and the products that we render to the public, details about them are easily available and accessible to the public.
The Vice President, Infrastructure, Finance and Public-Private Partnership, State Investment Development Agency, Mayowa Edgar, reaffirmed the state government's commitment to strengthening the economy, which, according to her, is private sector driven.
We're also looking at how we can implement the framework for responsible land-based investments in agriculture. So you're not going to have a case of you're using your land for your agriculture and then you're struggling with dealing with community issues.
Some of the stakeholders at the event suggested the provision of incentives for women to enable them have access to land documents such as Certificate of Occupancy (CFO). In Lafia, Kalu Idika, Radio Nigeria.
The Minister of Livestock Development, Alhaji Idi Mukhtar, says 65% of milk consumed in Nigeria is still being imported from other countries. The minister disclosed this in Abuja at a news briefing to celebrate the 2025 World Milk Day with the theme, "Let's Celebrate the Power of Dairy." Alhaji Idi Mukhtar said Nigeria consumes approximately 1.7 million metric tons of milk annually, but produces only 600,000 metric tons, which is 35%, leaving it with a deficit of 65%, saying dependence on importation weakens the economy. He also expresses sadness that the World Health Organization recommends an annual intake of 210 liters of milk per person, but that the average Nigerian annual milk intake stands at 8.7 liters, pointing out that the country's indigenous cattle breed can only produce about 2 liters of milk per day, while the exotic breeds can produce more than 20 liters of milk under proper management.
We are focusing on 10 pillars, among which are livestock value chain development, feed and fodder development, animal health and zoonosis control, livestock extension, youth and women empowerment, and access to finance and insurance, as well as water resource management, all of which are critical to milk production.
The Minister of Livestock Development further said the ministry is upscaling vaccine production at the National Veterinary Research Institute from 120 million vaccines to 850 million, in addition to expanding other veterinary services. Alhaji Mukhtar said in line with President Bola Tinubu's Renewed Hope agenda, the ministry is committed to driving policies that promote productivity, gender inclusion, youth engagement, and climate-smart livestock practices.
Our goal to unlock the full productivity potential of Nigeria's 20.9 million cattle, 60 million sheep, and 1.4 million goats can be achieved. Therefore, we are confident in our ability to double our national milk production from 600,000 metric tons to 1.2 million metric tons annually within the next 5 years.
There was a road walk across Abuja city center to showcase the importance of milk consumption and its nutritional values to combat malnutrition, especially among children. Callers on Radio Link, a Radio Nigeria audience participatory program, have called for the diversification of the economy through agriculture, utilizing the potential of Nigerian youth who are eager to contribute to the nation's growth. A caller from Imo State, Chief Fidel Onyinike, urged government to rescue the nation from its current challenges and restore public confidence, emphasizing the need to improve Nigerians' standard of living, particularly at the grassroots.
People no longer have confidence in the government because they are not getting the dividends of democracy at the grassroots level. That is why I want to urge the federal government to ensure that there is this autonomy for the local government, fund them with enough money so that they can develop the rural areas, develop the markets, open more rural roads, make sure that they create a conducive atmosphere for the rural dwellers so that they will appreciate the importance of the government.
Another caller, Adao from Plateau State, stressed the need for the current administration to tackle the issue of insecurity across the country.
We need to tackle the issue of insecurity. And I'm happy we now have a president who now realizes that the forest, we have to get rid of the criminals in the forest. So he has now established this forest guard thing. But I don't know what is delaying it. Let them expedite action on it. And then make sure that the operation will be carried out simultaneously nationwide in all the forests so they won't have an escape route.
Also, a caller, Samuel Chima in Abuja, emphasized on the need for service chiefs to prioritize intelligence gathering to enhance coordination among security agencies and implement community-based security initiatives. The senator representing Cross River North Senatorial District, Mr. Jared Biagom, has advocated more synergy between the executive and the legislative arms of government to improve the standard of living in the country. Senator Agom, who spoke at the news conference in Abuja, said all tiers of government must work together to prioritize the provision of basic amenities regardless of party affiliation. He reiterated his commitment to programs and policies that would boost socio-economic development in the constituency.
What we really need to do as Perseverance is synergy between the national and the state. We must have an agenda and collectively work towards that agenda. I will urge all of us to give the government in the state the full support to deliver so that they are not distracted because our people actually need governance taken to their doorsteps.
Senator Agom said he had initiated numerous programs to create an enabling environment for the people of Oguja constituency, such as road construction, upgrading of health facilities, and scholarships.
There is no ward in a senatorial district that does not have one infrastructural facility or the other, from water, rural electrification, roads, building of school blocks and furnishing, laboratory equipment. We have empowered a few of our people with some funds.
The senator appealed to President Bola Tinubu to consider the creation of Oguja State to bring governance closer to the people. It's 28 minutes past 7. You are listening to the news on the network service of Radio Nigeria. In the headlines, President Bola Tinubu reaffirms commitment to promote local content. Federal government to empower victims of insecurity. Nasarawa state government marks flood-prone areas ahead of potential flooding. Still to come, farmer kills son in Ekiti states. Plus, State House diary, sports news, commentary, cyberscope, newspaper headlines, and weather report. Do stay tuned.
Radio Nigeria, uplifting the people and uniting the nation.
A farmer has mistakenly shot his own son to death in Ekiti, Ilejemeje local government area of Ekiti State. The State Commissioner of Police, Mr. Joseph Eribo, who confirmed the incident to newsmen in Ado Ekiti, said the farmer had been invited for interrogation. According to Mr. Eribo, the suspect said he went to farm with his 15-year-old son to work. The father stated that monkeys had been terrorizing his farm, and while working, he observed a movement on a tree and fired a gunshot, believing it was a monkey, only for his son to fall from the tree. The Commissioner of Police, however, refused to reveal the name of the farmer. Nigeria's aviation industry, long plagued by neglect and outdated infrastructure, is experiencing a significant resurgence driven by the Renewed Hope agenda. Over the past 2 years, a focused political will has breathed new life into the sector, with stakeholders praising the visible improvements across the country's airports. In this special commemorative report, correspondent Nusa Aituame captures the wind of change in the past 2 years of President Tinubu's administration in the aviation industry.
At the heart of this transformation is a 5-point agenda by the Minister of Aviation and Aerospace Development, Mr. Festus Keyamo, targeting safety, infrastructure, regulation, capacity building, and economic growth. This vision is already yielding results. Nigeria's compliance with the Cape Town Convention has jumped from 49.5% to 75.5%, boosting international investor confidence and attracting foreign direct investment. A major step forward is the adoption of the irrevocable deregistration and export request authorization (IDERA) and practice direction, legal frameworks which guarantees aircraft lessors the right to recover their assets, positioning Nigeria as a trusted aviation hub.
They are now taking Nigeria serious, that we are ready for business. We are now fully compliant with Cape Town Convention, the biggest resource in the world, into so many enables with our local operators.
According to stakeholders, thanks to improved policies and clearer financial structures, local airlines are now expanding their fleets and exploring new markets.
The truth is that the minister is very supportive. The trip he made to France was to seek the collaboration of lessors worldwide so that they could be leasing planes to on dry lease instead of wet lease to Nigerian airlines.
First, we must commend the minister on his vigorous push to address long overdue industry issues. Things changed as they commenced.
Shade the president of Nigeria for what this administration had done for aviation industry.
Infrastructure upgrades are also in full swing. Lagos' long-abandoned second runway has been reactivated, and the refurbished E-Wing terminal at Murtala Muhammed International Airport, Lagos, is now open. Similar overhauls are ongoing at airports in Abuja, Kano, Port Harcourt, and Enugu, from light systems to conveyor belts and terminal roofing. These developments are part of a larger plan to concession key airports with goals of digitizing operations, improving safety, and increasing cargo capacity. Managing Director, Federal Airports Authority of Nigeria (FAN), Mrs. Olubunmi Kuku, says these terminal upgrades are vital to rejuvenating the aviation sector.
The airports are cleaner, they're friendlier in terms of the atmosphere. We've lit up some of those airports a lot more, and it's more spacious in certain areas.
Regulatory frameworks are also getting stronger, as the Director General of Civil Aviation, Captain Chris Najomo, reports improved safety oversight and growing investor confidence.
Enhanced surveillance is one of the pillars. NCA full political backing in enforcing regulations. The regulations is no respect of persons.
On the commercial front, local airline Air Peace has broken the monopoly on the Lagos-London route, now flying directly to London Gatwick. The airline's entry brings competitive fares and more options for Nigerian travelers, according to the chairman Air Peace, Dr. Allen Onyema.
The aviation industry, since the coming of President Bola Tinubu, has improved a lot. The ease of doing business has arrived.
Meanwhile, the government has cleared trapped funds owed to foreign airlines, prompting the return of carriers like Emirates. A new memorandum of understanding with U.S. aircraft manufacturer Boeing also promises to strengthen local aircraft maintenance, safety, and maintenance repair overhaul capabilities. With clear policies, modern infrastructure, and renewed investor trust, Nigeria's aviation sector is cruising into a promising future, proof that the Renewed Hope agenda is not just airborne, but gaining altitude. From Lagos, Nusa Aituame, Radio Nigeria.
Next is State House Diary.
This is State House Diary,
It is a program that summarizes the salience of last week's big events at the State House, the seat of government. My name is Abdullah Bello. Last week, President Bola Tinubu marked the second anniversary of his administration, during which he highlighted its major strides in economic reforms, security, healthcare, and youth empowerment. He re-emphasized that the reforms were critical to rescuing the nation from economic decline, checking inflation, raising foreign reserves, and renewed investor confidence. The president celebrated progress in the health and education sectors, saying that over 6,500 primary healthcare centers are being revitalized with access to student loan and investment in skilled personnel. He made reference to improvement in security efforts and commended service personnel for reducing banditry and restoring order in previously troubled regions. Youth empowerment featured prominently in the president's message, stressing that his administration is repositioning their abilities to inspire and lead globally. He thanked Nigerians for their resilience and support through the challenging times caused by the reforms. The president during the week commissioned the Phase 1, Section 1 of the Lagos-Calabar Coastal Highway and virtually flagged off projects in South-South, Southeast, Southwest, North Central, Northeast, and the Northwest zones. During the week, President Tinubu reaffirmed Nigeria's commitment to ECOWAS, emphasizing the country's historic and continuing role in shaping West Africa's path to peace, integration, and shared prosperity. The president made the reaffirmation at the 50th anniversary celebration of ECOWAS held in Lagos. Reflecting on the community's formation, the president paid glowing tribute to Nigeria's former head of state, retired General Yakubu Gowon, the only surviving leader among the original signatories to the ECOWAS Treaty. President Tinubu particularly cited successes such as ECOWAS trade liberalization scheme, joint border initiatives, and interventions to restore constitutional order in troubled member states as hallmarks of the community's achievements.
We celebrate not only 5 decades of history, but the enduring spirit of faith, resilience, and shared destiny that defines our community. In 1975, applauding further leaders' ambitions in West Africa, where borders unite rather than divide, a region of free movement, thriving trade, and peaceful coexistence. That vision is still alive today. We thank God our diversity is moving for our unity as purpose. This method has facilitated business and cultural exchanges and mobility across West Africa. Our regional cooperation on counter-terrorism and financial crime reflect our shared commitment to peace and safety.
Last week, President Tinubu reaffirmed the commitment of his administration to nurturing and protecting, as well as grooming Nigerian children to be future leaders, innovators, and change makers. In his message on the commemoration of this year's International Children's Day, the president said this year's theme, Stand Up, Speak Up, Building a Bullying-Free Generation, was in tandem with the culture his administration had been building. He said programs relevant to the welfare of children under the Renewed Hope agenda included the full implementation of National Plan of Action on Ending Violence Against Children, which provides a comprehensive roadmap to prevent abuse, prosecute perpetrators, and support victims, backed by robust financing and multi-sectoral coordination. The president last week appointed additional personalities to fill vacancies in the governing councils of some federal universities, polytechnics, and colleges of education. Last week, Vice President Kashim Shettima said the administration's institutional policy reforms would solve 80% of Nigeria's bureaucratic challenges. He stated this in Abuja during the official presentation of the draft National Public Policy Development and Management Framework by the Special Advisor to the President on Policy and Coordination and Head of the Central Results Delivery and Coordination Unit, CDCU, Hadiza Bala Usman. The Vice President described the new policy framework as a transformative approach that would redefine governance architecture.
Strong institution entails deep and firm institutions guided by strong, clear and acceptable laws. Our citizens must see that our reforms and policies are for the overall good of the nation. They must imbibe this, respect these policies, and accept it for the overall good of our nation. In this regard, communication to the Nigerian citizenry is very key. We must imbibe this in our e-governance program, and policy clarity is important. If it is not understood, it cannot be implemented. I want you to incorporate some sanctions into your framework. Some deliverables, targets. If people fail to perform, they should be made to pay the price.
During the week, First Lady Oluremi Tinubu noted that Nigerian children's potential to advance the course of the country was limitless. She made the observation at the launch of the Special Adolescent Initiative for Learning and Development Agile, additional financing to State and Agile Games Award ceremony held in Abuja to coincide with the commemoration of the International Children's Day. The First Lady encouraged children to seize any opportunity provided them to make their mark.
I am pleased to learn that Agile Project is significantly contributing to reduce the burden of out-of-school children in our communities by increasing secondary school enrollment among adolescent girls in Nigeria. Every child represented here has demonstrated what is possible when opportunity meets support, whether through entrepreneurship, environmental innovation, storytelling, or sports. You all have shown us that the good seed planted are already bearing fruit.
Prior to that, the First Lady honored a 16-year-old autistic artist, Kanyechukwu Taiwo Okeke, whose painting won the Guinness Book of Record Award. Kanye's achievement, according to the First Lady, demonstrates that with the right support and opportunities, individuals with autism can excel in their chosen fields. She gave him 25 million naira to support his education. The First Lady also assured the youth of continued government support. She gave the assurance in Abuja while redeeming her pledge to the youth wing of the Christian Association of Nigeria, UNICAN, by presenting them with 7 hybrid 14-seater buses. Senator Oluremi urged the group to utilize the vehicles for the service of God and humanity. That's the size of this week's edition of State House Diary. Do join us next week for a fresh edition. I am Abdullah Bello.
Next is sports. Super Eagles of Nigeria edged Jamaica to clinch Unity Cup in London as Paris Saint-Germain drop Inter Milan to lift the European Champions League in Munich. Alambo Datonye brings the details from the scintillating world of sports.
The Super Eagles of Nigeria last night successfully retained the Unity Invitational Tournament Cup following a 5-4 penalty shootout win over Jamaica after a 2-2 draw in regulation time in the final decided at the G-Tech Community Stadium in Brentford, West London. Moses Simon shot the Eagles onto the lead after 9 minutes, but Kahim Dixon equalized 3 minutes later. Nigeria once more went ahead on 53 minutes through Samuel Chukwueze, but the Reggae Boys drew level again through Jonathan Rosell on 63 minutes. During the penalty shootout, Getafe of Spain midfielder Uche Crisantos, who made his debut for Nigeria, scored the decisive spot kick after Jamaica's Dwayne Atkinson smashed his kick against the crossbar.
Crisantos Uche, the one who was to win it. Uche does score, and Nigeria win the Unity Cup, and the Super Eagles have done it. That is from Nigeria who celebrate.
Eric Charles coached Eagles reached the final after a 2-1 win over West African rivals Ghana, while Jamaica edged past fellow Caribbeans Trinidad and Tobago 3-2 in a dramatic semi-final encounter. Ghana comfortably saw off Trinidad and Tobago 4-0 earlier to secure third place. Nigeria defeated Republic of Ireland 1-0 to win the first edition of the Unity Cup in 2004. The Super Eagles will next play Russia in a friendly on Friday in Moscow. Next is the European Champions League.
Champions League winners 2025.
French giant Paris Saint-Germain last night smashed Italian side Inter Milan 5-0 to lift the UEFA Champions League for the first time in their history in the final of the 2024-2025 season at the Allianz Arena in Munich. Moroccan Achraf Hakimi opened the floodgates on 12 minutes as Ivorian French midfielder Desire Doué scored twice on 20 and 63 minutes, while Georgian Vitcha Kvaratskhelia and Frenchman Seni Mayulu completed the massacre on 73 and 86 minutes. Spanish man manager Luis Enrique won his second Champions League trophy as coach after guiding Barcelona to success in 2015. Back home, the maiden edition of the Parents Teachers Association PTA Games in the Federal Capital Territory has taken place at the Old Parade Ground, Area 10, Gariki, Abuja. 12 public schools participated in 10 different track and field events comprising men and women categories at the games organized by the Skyline School Sports in synergy with the Federal Capital Territory FCT Secondary Education Board, as members of PTAs, independent parents and other individuals also participated in the fiesta. Some of the events were 100 meters, 200 meters, 400 meters, 800 meters for both men and women's category, while other categories are the 4x400 meters and the 4x800 meters. Others are high jump and the tug of war, as well as the 200 meters walk also for both men and women. The event organizer and Chief Executive Officer Mr. Johnson Ajade told newsmen the importance of the games and the gains to the participants and the country.
We try to promote sports among everybody. That will do, whether you're a learner, whether you're a teacher, whether you're a parent. Once you're in education, we look after you. We're trying to have a platform that will bring teachers and parents together to engage in sport. So by God's grace, next year, we'll be having a national PTA Games.
A representative of the Abuja Education Secretariat Director Special Duties Hajia Ramatu Abubakar said she was pleased with the games.
Most of the teachers commenting behind me say it's a good avenue to while away their time. Far away from the classroom setting, it keeps them very fit and happy, and they make very good friends.
Shortly after partaking in the 200-meter walk, an elated parent, Mrs. Bob Manuel Onyeka, said it has helped her to keep fit.
Awesome, beautiful, amazing, and very interesting. My main aim was just to keep me fit. Sports helps you to be fit. Your heart rate is everything. And in this race, I felt all part of my body participating in it. So it's contributing a lot to my well-being. And then I have the opportunity to socialize with other parents and people from other schools.
Correspondent Samuel Asemuhai reports that high points of the event was a performance by the Nigerian Police Band FCT Command. The FCT PTA Games climaxed with tug of war competition, which saw GSS Gwarimpa Estate emerging overall winners. Other winners include Mr. Yusuf of Asokoro Day Secondary School, who claimed first position in high jump with a leap of 1.92 meters. On a sad note, at least 20 athletes from Kano State contingent returning from the recently concluded National Sports Festival in Abeokuta, Ogun State have died, while many others sustained injuries following a fatal accident that occurred on the Dakar Saleh Bridge. Chairman of the Kano State Sports Commission, Umar Balafage, who confirmed the incident, explained that the bus conveying the athletes, which was carrying 30 persons, plunged onto the bridge. Among the deceased was the son of Salisu Jegu, a sports journalist with Express Radio. I am Alambo Datoni.
The commentary is on Nigeria marching towards another election year. It is written by Ben Kit, an associate professor with the Alvin Ikuku Federal University of Education, Owerri.
One of the essential features of democracy is the provision to conduct elections at regular intervals to elect new set of leaders or renew the mandate of some serving ones. Nigerian electorate is expected to perform this civic responsibility in 2027. As the election year draws near, therefore, it becomes imperative for the Nigerian electorate to begin to reflect on the quality of future leaders this country needs. On the other hand, Nigerian future leaders should take a hard look at themselves. Those seeking re-election should be honest enough to ask themselves if they have performed creditably to worth being re-elected. Those coming in newly must know that they need the spirit of patriotism, nationalism, humility, civility, honesty, and sincerity. They should bear in mind that they are going to preside over people who require healing with so many already broken fences to mend. The bane of Nigeria's governance over the years, apart from military incursion, is a long list of sycophants who are bereft of good ideas and advise their masters aright, fearing to fall out of favor. History of good leadership in some parts of the world show high moral principles, selflessness, transparency, sensitivity to the plight of the masses, vision and trustworthiness, and these attributes earned them places in the hearts of the populace long after their leadership, much more than silver and gold. Nigeria's future leaders should brace up and face the challenges of this new era with a renewed vision, a new orientation, a better sense of direction and focus to put Nigeria and its people on a fast lane of true and genuine democratic practice, characterized by real dividends of democracy, progress and development in which Nigerians can feel and enjoy their abundant natural resources as a country flowing with milk and honey, a country that has the biggest market in Africa and one of the richest oil wells in the world, which still parades a reign of poor and impoverished citizens. The masses need better living conditions, enough food, adequate shelter, affordable and quality education, employment for the youth, essential social amenities, and security of lives and property, which are the primary responsibilities of any new-oriented government. Moreover, leadership is all about self-denial, service, labor, and sacrifice to achieve set goals for the general good, rather than service to satisfy self and a selected few. The new leaders of our dream are those patriotic Nigerians who the upcoming generations will emulate, leaders who will ensure equal and fair distribution of the national cake, leaders who will make selfless contributions to national development, dedication to the core of the people, resilience, discipline, exemplary character and commitment to service to God and humanity. As the nation's political clouds gather towards the conduct of another elections, Nigerian politicians should sincerely ask themselves if they have what it takes to genuinely lead the people rather than for their own selfish aggrandizement. Certainly, Nigerians now, more than ever before, need leaders who have impeccable track records, who are honest and of proven integrity, as well as leaders who will be sensitive to their sufferings, yearnings, and aspirations of the hardship-infested masses. Nigerians need leaders who will give priority attention to the security of lives and property, as well as the well-being of the poor masses, through enhanced standard of living, rather than insensitive people of loose and questionable character who will hide behind a party screen or ride at the back of their ill-gotten wealth or political godfatherism to perpetrate political fraud and rascality.
That commentary on Nigeria marching towards another election year was written by Benjamin Nwokedi and read by Harriet Adams.
Radio Nigeria, uplifting the people and uniting the nation.
The parade has been dismissed, but sweat and blood have been shed. Browbeaten by the sun, facing dangers on the land, sea and air. Some died, some lost limbs to enemy foes. How can we take care of those alive and families of those gone? The Pensioner comes up every Wednesday on Radio Nigeria Network at 7 p.m. The Pensioner, powered by the Military Pensions Board.
Radio Nigeria, uplifting the people and uniting the nation.
Now it's time for Cyberscope, bringing you the top trends shaping conversations across Nigeria's social media space. Wizkid is dominating conversations once again. His iconic Made in Lagos has surpassed a whopping 1 billion streams on Spotify, a monumental win for Afrobeats on the global stage. According to The Hype, or rather adding to The Hype, Wizkid Long Live Lagos, a documentary exploring his roots and rise, just premiered at the Tribeca Film Festival, earning rave reactions from his fans and critics alike. And that's not all. The star is trending for gifting his teenage son a 2025 Mercedes, plus dropping 2 new hits, Gimme That with Arya Star and Kai with Olamide, both racing up the charts. Also making waves is Afrobeats king Davido, who just teased the music video for With You featuring Omale, and in just 1 hour the post pulled in 170,000 posts plus likes and nearly 14,000 comments. Meanwhile, controversy surrounds Darlington again as NAPTIP issues a final summons for June 2 after he skipped his original hearing on May 30. The agency is investigating a video in which the singer claimed a relationship with a 15-year-old girl, a statement that sparked nationwide outrage and urgent calls for investigation. Now, while Speed Darlington blamed short notice for missing the first meeting, NAPTIP insists that child protection takes priority over any excuse. Though some suspect it might be a publicity stunt, child rights advocates are demanding a transparent probe to ensure justice is served. So all eyes are on June 2. And then in a tragic turn, at least 20 athletes and officials from Kano State have lost their lives in a fatal road accident while returning from the 22nd National Sports Festival in Ogun State. The crash occurred at the Katsale Bridge in Kura local government area after the team bus reportedly lost control and plunged into a ditch. Among the victims were athletes, coaches, medical staff, and journalists. The Kano State government has pledged 1 million naira in support for each bereaved family. This heartbreaking incident has sparked nationwide grief and reignited urgent calls for safer transport protocols. And that's a wrap on Cyberscope for today. So keep the conversation going. Connect with us at Radio Nigeria using the hashtag Cyberscope. This Cyberscope today was compiled by Ngozi Utu. Next is newspaper headlines. We begin with the Punch newspaper. Be patient with me, Tinubu begs Nigerians. Reps seek 7-year jail term for workplace bribery. FRC blames speeding for death of 21 Kano athletes. Ukraine war, Russia's drone scheme for Nigerians sparks opera. On the front page of Vanguard newspaper, we have Ukraine war, Russia's drone scheme for Nigeria sparks uproar. Then PDP, how Makinde and Wiki fell apart. Stop hitting the party, Unitiri cautions Atiku Obi El-Rufai. 2027, why Tinubu deserves a second term, Sanwo-Olu. Go and sin no more, Okpebholo spells out terms of amnesty for secret cult members. The Nation's newspaper is next with Nakon hails Nigerian pilgrims for returning lost funds. And that's it for newspaper headlines for the day. Weather reports. In the northern region, patches of clouds are envisaged with isolated thunderstorms, moderate rains over parts of Bauchi, Taraba, Kaduna, Kebbi, Kano, Adamawa, and the Federal Capital Territory. And in the southern region, morning showers are anticipated over parts of Cross River, Bayelsa, Delta, Akwa Ibom states, with isolated rains expected over parts of Ekiti, Abia, Ebonyi, Oyo, Delta, Edo, and Lagos states. To end the news, here's a recap of the major stories. President Bola Tinubu has reaffirmed the federal government's commitment to local content, technology transfer, and the empowerment of Nigerians. The federal government is set to empower 150 million Nigerians affected by insecurity through agricultural initiative. The Nasarawa state government has begun identifying and marking communities and residential buildings located in flood-prone areas as part of proactive measures to ensure the safety of residents ahead of potential flooding. And we also reported that a farmer has mistakenly shot his own son to death in Iye-Ekiti, Ilejemeje local government area of Ekiti state. That's the news, edited by Stanley Nwosu. My name is Okemute Iguriasi. Have a blessed Sunday.
Ibikibi lákòókò yóò. Ilé ní aláwa ń bàdàn. 99.1 àwa la jẹ́ nọ́mbà 1. Bá ń jẹ́ kẹ́ ẹ mọ̀.